So the reason I wanted to make this video especially for you is this episode. It's about the circles and the serpent biting its own tail, as you can see in the thumbnail of my video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the S4E6. And today I'm going to talk about something that you should do if you're currently in a gym or if you're in a restaurant, coffee shop, pizza, burger joint, whatever the fuck you are. This is the point in which you have to kind of understand that backstabbing in life is the necessary part of you having that infamous or famous, depending whom you ask, character development. So at some point, if you're currently in your like a late teens or like 18, 19 plus, and you're kind of doing some revisionary flashbacks of the environment you're currently surrounded with and the friends, if you can call them friends or acquaintances or pen pals, whatever the fuck, and you're kind of feeling fatigued, you're kind of feeling tired, and you kind of feel having too many deja vu in your perception. What I mean by that is that outgrowing your social circle is the everlasting move you should do in your life when you feel that nothing is working out and you don't see your friends, if you can call them that, the same eyes as you had for them, and it's eyes I shall not see again. One of my books I finished last June. I'm currently working on my second book, Children of the South, but that's not the point. The point is that outgrowing social circles is not some quantum mechanics, rocket science. It's something you should do for both genders, since there are only two genders only. You should do for yourself is just leave, or you can thank them for being there, or just removing yourself silently from their lives if you're tired of being a side character, or if you're tired of just not feeling that vibe anymore and it's no longer fitting for you. So you might consider, depending on your age, you might consider if you should wait for something or someone to tell you otherwise, but usually your gut instinct or intuition or your sixth sense or the vibe past check is not lying to you. So you should distance yourself when you feel that your social circle has become very limiting, and you kind of felt for a long time you should walk on eggshells around them, and you're kind of getting tired, and you are planning to do some other things in the meantime in general. And if you're trying to move out from their lives, feel freely to do so, because that friendship wouldn't last even in the first place, because not all people around you are meant to be friends. Most of them are just passing by characters who you're just going to remember very briefly or for a very split second, but they won't be there anymore. Now, the truth about the socialization in the 21st century has really become very rare and seldom, in a sense that epidemic of loneliness from both genders is very staggering and shocking, as people have been saying on social media. But yet again, it's not just the disconnect between the social media and the people, it's about the people themselves, and they have lied either for some XY things, because you can notice, I'm sure you have noticed that in this case of context, a lot of people have started to coming up with these excuses of being, too busy. But I have to tell you, there is no such thing as the phrase too busy, or not just their priority. What I mean by that is they will never, seldom if they do, remember you to call you out for a pizza, for a burger, for a coffee, for anything of that bare minimum of socialization, in which you kind of feel left out or excluded. But here's my 2 cents on it. If you keep feeling excluded, and I'm now talking to the bit older people who are now in their mid-20s to late 20s, the point is that if you kind of feel stuck in this friendship, you should just distance yourself and just write some empathy message in which you're expressing the dissatisfaction and whatever has been going on, and just distance yourself until you either find yourself or you start making out things for you to be the best way they should be. So what I mean by that is that if you have been feeling that your social circle is getting repetitive, boring, retarded, anything in that between of description or definition, feel free to move out and just move on with your life, and don't even respond to those messages. Just say, prior to you leaving, hey, thanks for that, XYZ, no. Now, the point is that this everlasting circle curse has been really active in this 21st century, and the reason I'm saying it is from my own personal experience. It used to be kind of easier to get friends, but now it has been like the difficulty has been increased significantly. Why is that? Now we have to ask the people who make the rules of socialization. Anyway, the point is that in this DNA age, now you can see very clearly for yourself. We have felt the burns of false friends. Now, usually you have noticed yourselves that when it comes to false friends narrative, the false friends narratives are type of false friends who are only calling you when you need them. Now, if you do the retrospective from if you're laying in bed or if you're in gym or whatever, whichever activity you're doing, you have to understand and give a flashback to the last time they kind of remember to call you to, hang out or just hang out and talk about something else or the world or not just your salaries and jobs and stuff. I mean, if the person you feel that you can actually talk about something. Not too many people exist in that fashion. Now, when it comes to the ghosting, as I covered in my previous video, and also this outgrowing social circle, outgrowing social circle is the natural process for you to grow as a person, because you cannot like behave in a mud if you're feeling like a diamond or you have a potential. Like a human beings can have like a really solid potential, but it's the brushing part that gets the diamonds to shine. Reflect, I'm sorry. Diamonds don't shine, they reflect. A wise word I saw like a decade ago. Now, if you're feeling stuck, now you should start doing some extraordinary things. What I mean by that is doing some sort of hobbies you kind of neglected in your pursuit of the friendships or, trying to establishing something. Now, for you to have this perception or perspective, or from, let's say you're watching from Panorama, your hometown, wherever you are, in which city you're currently in. And now you're and if it's the nightfall, which is the best feeling for retrospection of your life, you should kind of go back and look at yourself and be like, man, how many times I've sacrificed my time and place for some people to be happy and stuff like that, and to be like a pushover. So you shouldn't feel yourself like a pushover. You should feel yourself like a human being who has deserved some sort of, treatment and respect and whatnot. Like the bare minimum logic of the bare minimum. Give me a second, apologies. Back to the story. Now, the point I'm trying to make is this, that you shouldn't feel guilty or guilt in general in your gut, within your feelings, if you're deciding to step away from a certain social circle that has been neglecting you, gaslighting, avoiding you, or you have been feeling like a very unfulfilled in the sense that it's no longer that same feeling or sentiment when you're sitting with them. And also, what I mean by that is that also you should just step away and try to figure out the best way possible for you to kind of see what has went wrong, because the reason I'm telling you this is very simple. You shouldn't make the mistakes that you made in your social circle that you're currently in. What I mean by that is that you should remember the profiles of people you should never hang around with in the first place, and then figure out for yourself what sort of persons are you attracted to that want to be in your social circle, because the social circle itself, it's very important for you to have people who are going to push you out of your comfort zone. So what I mean by comfort zone is actually to suggest you to do something for the first time. And when was the first time that you did something for the first time is one of the greatest questions in today's landscape of people socializing with themselves. You can also give yourself a challenge. You can actually go to those pub quizzes, you can actually go to some taverns and seek out and try for yourself to go alone. Because too many people are afraid to go alone because XYZ, some social anxiety bullshit, whatever the fuck. But the point is that you should try to meet new people and try to give yourself a chance. I know if you're feeling bitter, if you're feeling angry, frustrated, whatever the fuck you're currently feeling, you should ignore those feelings and just try to seek out the best answer for yourself. Because sometimes you might meet better people just outside in the new coffee shop. I'm saying might because it doesn't sometimes work that way. I mean, there are a lot of ways for you to find better people, but for you to find a better people, you need to be a better person yourself. So the reason I'm saying to this, and I don't want it to sound like motivational bullshit, I'm telling you that you should give yourself a new chance, new people, new surroundings, new environment, and fresh start. Don't be afraid of the fucking fresh start. There is nothing wrong with you starting from the scratch when it comes to friendship. If you had, like, let's say a dozen 12, you can go from 12 to 0 and start over. I know you're going to be afraid in the first place in general, but you should forget about fear, fuck fear, and just head towards and head straight. And remember, you have nothing to lose, because I'm going to cover the concept of illusion in one of my future videos. But I'm trying to tell you is this, that in this case, if you're feeling stuck, there is always going to be a time where you're going to feel stuck, but it's not permanent. It's kind of temporary. Like a lot of things can be temporary in life, like from love to friendship to, you know, the feelings, the sentiment, the aura and the vibe and whatever, the not fuck. But you have to distance and dare yourself to try, because if you don't dare to try yourself to figure out and meet new people, you might get stuck in that sobbing circle of complaining. You might become the complainer, in which you're saying, oh man, this is so much fair, I should be better. Yeah, you should, man, but it always starts from yourself. You should be in the better place for yourself, not for anybody else or everybody else who are in your vicinity or who are in your closeness of this circle, because people people themselves that you're currently seeing, people in general in the 21st century, the people are fucked, as George Carlin used to say in his comedy shows. But it's not a comedy, more like a philosophy and facts and truth. The people are fucked, so that means that you can find new people relatively soon. It depends how willing are you to let go the things that kept you close in your mind, in your perspective or perception of things. Now, if you're currently feeling, if you're currently in some bad mood or in some bad time period or even a good time period, doesn't fucking matter. You should try, regardless if you're feeling like kind of stuck and you're kind of feeling this stereotypical over and over and over, but you should try at least, man, because attempting is better to try, because for every chance you didn't take, it was an empty shot. So you don't want to go with the empty shots in general. The point is that now the people are, very complex in 21st century. Some people are simple, some people are not. But in general, you should try and give yourself a chance. Go down to some coffee shop or bar you have never went to because you couldn't, because of the condescending of your social circle. Go sit down where in those coffee shops that you couldn't go because of the prejudice from the other people. Sit down, drink coffee and water, whatever the fuck you want to drink, or alcohol. I don't advise you to do so because it's a waste of time. But I already covered the illusion of alcohol, whatever the fuck. But if you're feeling stressed or, frustrated like that, you want to relax yourself, go try some drink, like very moderately. The point is that once you go there and feel the new atmosphere and feel the new people and music playing in that bar or coffee shop you never went to because of the people or the people that you had in your social circle and they hated or disliked that coffee shop for some retarded XYZ reasons only known to them. Unfortunately, go out there, just dress casually, enjoy the moment, and remember, when you create new moments, you're going to feel a hell of a fuck much better than you're killing if you're not creating any moments in general. So what I mean by that is that in this case, the social circle and outgrowing is actually a good natural transition, because once you move out from that stuck NPC place, now you're going to be able to see differently, understand differently, and kind of probably you're going to be harsh to yourself when you move out to the new social circle or new city and new people. You're going to might judge yourself, but you shouldn't judge yourself. It's because sometimes we can be very immature to ourselves and lying to ourselves. It's because of the comfort zone mentality. And once we move out of the comfort zone, you should be feeling thankful. And once you figure out the new people in the new era, it's going to be like when you leave the showers and you're feeling refreshing and you're feeling better and you're feeling everything in between that you should have felt in the first place. Now it's going to be a very much different for you. And once you surround yourself with different type of people and a different type of mentality, you yourself are going to grow very bit by bit, step by step, month by month, year by year, and it's never too late. As I mentioned at the beginning of my video, if you're in your mid-teens or even early 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, and even 30s, don't fucking care what people are going to say, because people are as passable as the rain if you're sitting whatever the fuck you're sitting or going somewhere. So those people don't matter, and they probably will never matter, because those type of people are only there to remind you how much you have worth in yourself and how much you should carry yourself. No matter how many fuck times they tell you no, you should always go, stand up, be proud, and fight for what you believe in, because fighting for what you believe in is going to bring you results in the first place eventually. Not everything is going to be done overnight for this social gratification and verification of somebody else from the other side. No, I'm telling you that you should give yourself a chance, a new life, a new beginning, a new people, a new relationship. Start to scratch from over, because it's spring, it's April 14th, and now you should feel the spring. Remember, the spring can go and it returns with the winter and autumn. And how is the mentality in the winter and autumn? Fucking depressing. But once that sun goes back, oh boy, now everything is feeling lighter and better and refresher. And the entire sentiment thing about it is now people feeling themselves, once the spring and summer shows up, they are feeling the ways to give themselves a new chance. So what I'm telling to you is to dare to leave your comfort zone and dare to be different and dare to speak your mind and dare to be that change. Because a lot of people have been bitching and moaning and complaining on social media about the change of the world, but the oldest trick in the book is you have to change yourself before the world can be changed. You have to change your perspective and your ideology, whatever you have to change, but for you to gain and better knowledge and wisdom and intelligence, because the emphasis should be in this century on intelligence and the way to adapt and to find out new ways and the best ways possible for you to grow as a person. Because if you don't, it's not kind of recommendable for you to be stuck in that same vicious repetitive circle. Because if you're feeling afraid of leaving your social circle, that's your comfort zone side telling you that your brain prefers always something that is familiar with in his mind. So the brain is going to keep deceiving you, but the gut is telling you, fuck the brain, man, go do something better for yourself. However you're feeling, if you're feeling sad in your teenage years, if you're early, mid and late 20s, don't fucking feel sorry for yourself, because the life itself is passing you by. And you have to understand that the life doesn't wait for nobody or anyone. How much privilege and the pride is not your friend here, it's your enemy. Now, in this situation specifically, pride is your worst enemy, because it's telling you to stay safe, to wait for something or someone to change, because that change will not come by sitting and waiting. You have to go grab the moment, feel the moment and be in the moment. Because remember, the moments themselves are being created, but when we create something, when it comes to writing, when it comes to drinking or being in a coffee shop, go fucking alone, sit in a coffee shop. Go do something for the very first time you haven't done in a fucking long place, in a fucking long time. I'm not saying to you that you should go with this bullshit, you're at work. Dude, nobody gives a fuck if you're working or not. So what matters is if you create your moments, it doesn't fucking matter, because your colleagues at your job are not your friends. They're actually people to sway you from your natural path, because they're only like NPC people in your company. So they're like NPC people who rarely but seldom gives you some side and main characters unrelated to your job. So if they're normal people, I hope they're not NPC people who only know how to speak in job faggotry, the cocksucking retarded obligation of a job. Now you should find better people outside of it, and there is nothing wrong also with not talking with your colleagues at work. Not all your colleagues wish you well on your job. Some wish you well to fucking die, some wish you well not to succeed, some wish you not to get promoted and stuff like that. But I don't have to tell you that, you already know that by yourself. Prior to me finishing this video, I want you to think of something. Of Ernest Hemingway, how he survived a shit ton of fuckable things in his life. And I mean that he survived world wars, he survived airplane incidents, that most of us would have been fucking dead by now if we had felt the one modicum of his life that Hemingway felt. Or you can be like Faulkner, you can be like any of those persons in between who dare to live. Now don't leave the excuses and outside of the window, because by the time you're creating the excuses, the chance itself is going to pass away like a train, and if you miss the train, you're going to wait for a lot of time before the new opportunity is created. You have to take it and understand and follow it. Follow your gut and understand the intuition. Intuition, if it's telling you it's leave, it's time to leave. Don't feel sorry for yourself if your social circle is kind of feeling where you have to say goodbye. how hard it is for you to feel goodbye, you have to do it, because eventually that social circle is something you outgrew yourself, and eventually you will have to say adieu, turn around, and never to be seen again in that same social circle. But think about it, you're not going to feel like sad at first when you find new people and you look at that former social circle outgrowing, and that same social circle, some of them eventually are going to backstab you one way or the other. So I'm not saying it's a guarantee somebody will not stab you in any former or current social circle. I'm saying is that it's going to happen inevitably. It's part of life, the backstabbing, the treasons, the lies, the deception, the manipulation, the lies. Everything is part of life, but you have to stand it like a storm, and in that storm to build the new parts of yourself, inhale your new life, because living old life is just repetitive bullshit and it won't benefit you at long, even in the first place, last place, fifth place. Thank you for coming to the S4E6 Blade Runner 2147 Stefan Heller. Follow Christ, Christ is King, become straight edge, and remember, live and break the fucking rules. Fuck the rules, fuck the people. Thank you so much fucking very much. Until the next video, adieu.